Mind calm, body at ease, breathing quiet, sentiment and Dharma friends, sitting still in vital silence, wanting nothing, we practice eco Buddhism the sound of the temple bell for all to cease from conflict. May the way of Buddha usher in the dawn of non-violent global village Here is the after sound of thunder of silence, light after Dharma Vairocana Mahamudra. Bala, Bharataya.
Please stand for the chanting of the three locutus. First, in keeping with our tradition, which comes from the monasteries of Korea, we'll chant in Sino Korean. Hold your voice in. Sometimes it just can happen that as you're really present, you can just, gosh, I didn't know I knew that one. And then we'll do it in English so that you can get an idea of that meaning.
Shema Shale
My memory isn't very good, even I've been doing this for a long time. I go for refuge to the Buddha.
I go for refuge to the Buddha,
And resolve with all beings.
and resolve with all beings.
I will cultivate a heart of enlightenment.
I will cultivate a heart of enlightenment,
And realize the great way.
and realize the great way.
I go for refuge to the Dharma.
I go for refuge to the Dharma,
And resolve with all beings.
and resolve with all beings.
I will penetrate the teachings.
I will penetrate the teachings,
And uncover oceans of wisdom.
and uncover oceans of wisdom.
I go for refuge to the Sangha.
I go for refuge to the Sangha,
And resolve with all beings.
and resolve with all beings.
I will seek peace and harmony for the many.
I will seek peace and harmony for the many,
And transform this world into Buddha land unimpeded.
and transform this world into Buddha land unimpeded.
We're adding a new part to our service just after the three refuges. In the spirit of non-violent global peace for all of us. Especially because we are in the wash of terrible warfare. We know so much about that in Ukraine and also in the United States. So I will light a peace candle. We say in Buddhism that peace starts within ourselves, with our transformation of what we call the two poison, greed, and illusion. So offer that transformation to all beings. It's an inside job and it's an outside job. So to begin with, to embody our commitment, let us do three expressions. And then we will have a special reading, twice actually. If prostrations are hard for you, then just a simple bow or even holding your hands in Paksham. slowly. Let's stand while we listen to the scripture. First by Magama.
Metta Sutta, Meditation on Loving Kindness. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties, and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove. Wishing in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short, or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another, or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection.
Metta Sutta, meditation on loving kindness. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove. Wishing in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none, through anger or ill will, wish harm upon another. Even as a parent protects with their life their child, their only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outward and unbounded, free from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. Please be seated. I'm just going to be here for a moment. It's my pleasure this morning to introduce you to someone that a lot of you already know because he's been with us, and when we have had discussions here on Sunday morning, he's participated. He's been a member for some years, and I think I know him more by our just times together here at the temple in the yard. His Buddhist name is Hyung-Chul, and his street name is William Cullen. And he didn't want to come and sit here to give his talk today, so he's over there. Do you still wish to speak from there, Hyung-Chul?
I can come forward.
Yes. Okay, well, let's use a microphone. But he said he wouldn't come. He wouldn't come?
Yeah, I can come.
So you see, you've all often heard Hyung-Chul in our discussions, and he's been so eloquent, as many of you are when we have our discussions. So let's talk more about it. And so he's going to talk about how meditation is effective. Yeah.
Good morning. I just wanted to talk briefly about my journey into my meditation practice. In 1999, one of my older brothers died from active addiction. And I tried to get him to come to our fellowship, which is NANA, because I've been a member for years, and he wouldn't come. And he died as a result. And I went into an emotional tailspin because we were just 1 year apart. And my wife, she's not here, but she was attending a world religious class at the local college. And she suggested, she said, young child, maybe you need to go to the Detroit Zen Center over in Hamtramck. And I followed some suggestions. I was open enough. And I went there, and I stuck my head in, and there was people in there burning candles, incense, and chanting. I said, man, what the heck's going on in here? You know, why did she send me here? And a young lady came out and she said, would you like to learn how to meditate? And I said, of course, that's part of 11-step practice in AA and NA. So I went in and they told me they had this teacher, but he was out of town, but he'd be back. He said, but in the interim, we'll show you what we know. We're his top students. I said, okay. So I came in and they began to show me how to sit quietly. And they told me when the teacher comes back, at the end of all our meditation sessions, he will always say a few words, a Dharma talk. So one day I go there, and they told me the teacher was back in town. I said, oh my goodness, I'm excited like a 15-year-old boy. The guru then came off the mountain, man, I'm gonna get spiritually fed today. So I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden this guy walked in, tall, skinny, white, with a bald head. I said, what the? My perception of a practitioner was an Asian, jolly guy with a bald head. And my perception was shattered. And I still sat there with them, and they told me, they said, in order to become a member here, you have to have an audience with the teacher. And they set up a schedule for me to go in this private chambers, and we was drinking some green tea, and he asked me a question. And I responded, I don't know. And he said, if you would have said anything other than I don't know, I would have asked you to leave because I know you don't know. And he said, if you stay here with us, you will get to know. So I began to practice. And they only started me off at 15 minutes. He said, that's all you can endure. But it takes discipline. The discipline leads to the practice. So that was 23 years ago, I went into the meditation hall. And I began to practice with them. And we would go to our retreats, Lumen Junction retreats, and we began to sit 9 hours a day in sitting meditation alone. And that brought about a level of clarity. That's what meditation does for me. And I sit daily in my home. I have an altar and everything. And it brings about a level of clarity, purity, and spontaneity. A clarity of mind, a purity of heart, a spontaneity in my action, which is all natural, authentic, unconditioned, and real. And that's what happened with me. In my early practice with my teacher, I would be chatting about past, present, future, yesterdays, todays, and tomorrow. And he looked at me one day, he said, young child, when will you ever awaken? He said, I'm encouraging you to go back to your meditation mat and begin your practice of quieting your mind, silence your tongue, and still your body. So you too will know the joy of meditation and the sweetness of surrender, complete surrender. And he walked away, and a few steps out, he turned and he made a bow. And he said, may you awaken in this lifetime. And I continued my practice. And I continue it today. In 2003, after 3 years of practice, I took my 5 precepts. And my wife and my family came. It was a lavish ceremony, had flowers and had my robe and everything. I was just so happy. And I was able to, my 5 precepts. 4 years after that, in 2007, I took my 10 precepts. But I often believe, even today, that the first precept lays the foundation for the rest to stand upon. Do no harm, but cherish all life. And I began to see that there's no real separation. That was just an illusion. I was something that I'm separate from every member in here, and that's not real. See, and I was able to work through that and see that. So I carry these precepts with me in my daily life with an expanded consciousness and a deepened awareness to see beyond the beginning and ending of all things in every moment. I truly believe it begins with principle and it ends with principle. And from principle to principle, I don't deviate from principle. I don't have a perfect life, guys. I got a principled life. And in living a principled life, I'm able to obtain the perfect peace in life. I'm at peace with myself and the world I live in. I often tell myself, I can't wait to wake up in the morning and get started. See, but not only do I have the tools, I learn how to use them skillfully. And my life is simple. I'm 71 years old. 71. I never thought I'd be saying, oh, this is my friend. We share the same birth year, 1952. So, and that's what happens. You know, the simple life for me is a real good life. But a simple senior life is a great life. Living according to my precepts has made my life so meaningful. One day I was in a meditation hall, and my teacher put a cup in the middle of the floor, and he told us, the members, he said, go to your meditation mat and meditate upon that, and come back and tell me what it reveals to you. And we sat there, and it was my turn to go speak with him. And I said, a cup, a regular cup, guys, sit open and empty, silent and still. You could put milk, juice, pop, tea, coffee into a cup. The content changed, but the cup stays the same. Events and circumstances change, but my humanity stays the same. It's changeless. So I see that as I was told, the whole purpose of taking a human birth is to help others and allow yourself to be helped by others when necessary. And I believe that, and I practice that daily. I'm gonna share this little short story Pat heard it once before. I was at the local supermarket up in Kroger's in my community up there in Belleville. And I was standing in the checkout line behind a lady, and she had two small children. And she put her items up on the counter, and the cashier rang it up, and she informed the woman that you didn't have enough resources to cover this, right? And I'm standing back observing this, and I'm looking at this woman. How do you give me permission just to be myself? I'm looking at this woman, and I see my own mother's face. I'm the product of a single mother with 7 kids in the 50s. And I seen my mother struggle to feed us, to clothe us, to house us. And I'm looking at this woman, and I see my own mother's face. And I'm here to be honest with you. Something spoke to me from a deep, sacred, spiritual place called the heart. And it uttered 2 words. It said, help her, help her, help her. And I told the cashier, whatever the balance is, I'll take care of it. And I did, and I handed the lady receipt in case she had to exchange something. And I went to my car and I cried like a baby. And after I was able to collect my emotions, I realized in that moment, I wasn't there for that woman. She was there for me. She gave me an opportunity to express my own humanity and my own human decency. This is what the practice is about for me. It's simply to be a human being, an awakened human being. And that's how I live. This is how I live today. I don't read it, I don't write it, I don't talk about it. I practice it daily. And the benefits is just, I can't even imagine. So I spent years with my teacher at the Detroit Zen Center. And he told me this. He said, young child, if you want to see me, look into your heart. He said, but if you really want to know me, you have to do something much harder. Get to know yourself. Say, I was able to get to know me. And by knowing me, it gives me the opportunity to know others. That's why I cannot intentionally harm anyone else. And I don't take this lifetime for granted. Only the humans, as he told me, he said, only humans can awaken in the human world. He said, animals, insects, plants, fowl, or fish does not bear the capacity to awaken. He said, don't squander this opportunity. And I'm encouraging you to do the same. Don't squander this opportunity. See, is to come here, continue your practice, so you too can awaken to the truth about my nature. And it's beyond my perception. I don't even perceive about it. I can't, it's beyond all perceptions, all concepts, all views, all opinions. As I was told when I went to the Zen Center, you didn't come here to learn, you come to unlearn. To rid yourself of all these views, opinions, judgments, and concepts that's been plaguing your mind. So you can bring a level of clarity and purity and spontaneity and return naturally to your own humanity and your own human decency. And that's what this is about for me. I got a really good life. I got a really good life. And I got a good wife too. I got to mention her because she's like, I got a really, really good wife. And she encouraged me to come to Detroit Zen Center. And when we moved in this area, I come and took membership here at this temple. And I'm grateful for that. So, that's primarily that's my story. I don't have nothing to really talk about. I like practicing. Each day I'm committed to practicing principles in all my affairs. I set some time aside for meditation. And at the end of the day, I reflect how close did I hear to my precepts. And I was told that the mind speaks, but the heart knows. The mind speaks, but the heart knows the truth because it lives in truth. It cannot be deceived. My teacher told me, he said, I want you to return to the original language of the Bible. See? And he's right. I listened to the Bible. When I was a young man, my mind told my body what to do. Now that I'm an old man, my body telling my mind what it ain't gonna do. and I learned to listen to it. And I find an immense amount of peace in that. So I'm humble. I'm humble. 23 years ago, I went this month, matter of fact, in October of 2000. But I realized that day is this day, and this day is that day. Every day is today, and every place is right here, right now. That day prepared me for this day, to be asked to come and share my experience of living according to my practice of meditation. It's worth it. And I say again, my teacher told me, he said, may you awaken in this lifetime. Thank you.
Would you take questions or comments from folks? Anybody has a question or response as a result of what I'm told?
Well, what a treat to have you. Thank you so much for that. Can you tell us a little bit more about what it was like with your teacher, what the instruction was like when you first went to the Zen temple?
Yes, when I first encountered him or engaged with him, he was real strict. I'm gonna be honest, he was really, really strict. And the member was telling me, say, this is more like a monastic training in here, man. No talking, no moving, no nothing. But I could see, he had an exterior that was gruff, but he had a pure heart. He really wanted the members to awaken. And that was his personality. We had a director right up under him named Myanji. She was the softer side of him. Thank God she was there. And she would tamper him down, and he would, because when I first went there, we was just eating a bunch of organic food, cold food. I said, man, where's the hot food? And she finally convinced him that he heat it up a little bit. And I was grateful for that. But yeah, he was very stern. He was very stern on the outside, but he had a heart of gold on the inside. And I appreciate all that he did and encouraged me to do. He was a gentle giant. See, one thing that I found out about him I didn't know. He told me he was a county sheriff in Wayne County. And he was a county sheriff, and I was a county inmate. And our paths had crossed, but I didn't realize that was 30 years ago in 1970, 71. And I got to meet him as a Buddhist monk in 2000. So I let him know our paths crossed in that county jail he worked at. He was the sheriff, and I was the inmate. So, but they had the wrong guy. Of course I'm innocent. So yeah.
So, can you read what's on the screen? Somebody left a comment.
Welcome to live chat.
No,
Okay. Elisha, Melicure, Sangha would benefit from having this fellow as a regular speaker.
Say it again, because I didn't hear.
It says the Sangha would benefit from having this fellow as a regular speaker.
I second that.
Amen.
Thank you so much. I am curious about experiences of resistance to the practice, to your teacher, and if you could just talk us through what that was like for you.
Well, when I first got there, he pointed out, he said, young child, it's a lot of empty seats here. He said, a lot of people don't have the insight and to come here and begin their practice. All of us, well, not all, most of us been taught to look outside of ourselves. He said, everywhere you went, you looked outside of you. He said, in this temple, we look inside of ourselves. He said, all wise people move by insight. They don't look on the outside, they look on the inside. They understand their assets and their liabilities, their strengths and their weaknesses. So going there, I would sit in meditation, and my mind would say, they trying to make me get rid of me. That was scary, right? Because I had this image of a self. I had this idea of a self all of my entire life. And they tried to make me get rid of me. So, until he told me one day, he said, the confusion is, you trying to transform into that which has no form. It can't be transformed or reformed because it's formless. He said, you trying to return to a place you ain't never left. He said, you always been here, but it's just in different forms. Of course, it was all confusing until I started my practice. But what happens is that oftentimes we seek this intellectually and forget to learn to live it intuitively. He often would say, don't seek it in the mind, live it through the heart. See, and that's true. I don't seek this intellect. I don't seek my practice intellectually. I learned to live it intuitively. And he made that very clear. I'm going to ask this, say this one little last thing, because it's women here who have children, right? And he said when a child comes out the womb and placed to the breast, it naturally knows what to do. He said that's your intuitive nature. He said it only has one tooth. That's the power of the jaw. And they use that jaw to strengthen the rest of the body, right? He said that after a certain period of time, a baby will roll over and hold up his head. And after another period of time, it begin to crawl. And finally, it began to walk. And he said, once the body learns to walk, it cannot naturally go back to crawling. He said, this is your intuition. It knows. He often said that all the time. He said, young child, we know, but we don't know how we know. We just know. I don't question how I know. I just know. But I know not to go back to the county jail.
I was wondering specifically about your brother, since he's what drove you to come here. And I was wondering if you could tell us something about him, a good memory, his name, something to honor him.
My brother's name was Gerald Cunningham. And when my father and my mother separated, and she was left alone with the seven, with me and my 6 siblings, every day we left the house, my mom would always say, stick together. That was her phrase, y'all stick together. My brother was a year older than me, but he was built like an athlete. He was naturally athletic. Basketball, baseball, he had a lot of trophies and stuff. And when I went to junior high school, I never forget, the bullies would begin to bully me, and I would go get my big brother. And he would, only thing he said was, point him out. He didn't ask no questions. And I got a free pass through junior high and high school. See, because they knew I was his brother. See, and he didn't play. And that's what I liked about him. And my 2 siblings up under me, I had the same attitude towards them. Because I can always hear my mother's voice. Stick together. And that's my greatest memory of my brother. He was one of my protectors. I had 2 big sisters too, and they wasn't playing either. So yeah, you know, he passed, and I tried to give him the help that I see would help him. But he was resistant towards changing and being responsible. So he was caught in the grip of his addiction. And all I could do was be an example for him. He seen the joy come back into my life. And that's all I can do. Thank you.
So young child, see we have another comment.
Okay, Juliana, I fully agree with Ursula. Thank you, guest speaker. Sorry I missed your name, for agreeing to Haju to share your stories and wisdom with our Sangha this morning. Deep bows from Sangha in Seattle. Got a question?
I did not, but it was really nice hearing the sermon. It's always really awesome. And your experience is pretty awesome.
Young Chol, thank you so much for such a powerful talk. Can you tell us about your Dharma name, what it means, and what it has meant to you?
I told you I was in trouble when he got that mic. Yes, my Dharma name is Jung Chao. And in Korean, it means wisdom fragrance, the smell of wisdom. So in 2003, when we went to the precept ceremony, right? And I don't know what name he was going to bestow upon me. But when he put that name, I said, I like that one. I'm picking that one. Right? See, And I started to bring the certificate that that I had. I mean, the words on there was just, it brought me to tears. That we live with a heart of compassion for the suffering. And that's what this practice does. It allowed my consciousness to expand, to see the suffering in this world. And the least I can do is not add to it. And that's the wisdom, to know that I'm attached to every human in this world. There's no real separation. And through my practice, I was able to see that. So that's what I like that man. I do. He went right to my heart on that one, and I live up to him. I do. This community here, in my original community, I represent everywhere I go. But I represent it in quietness and confidence in my precepts. That they do work. They do their reflection. As you told me, what is projected on the inside is merely reflected on the outside. You say, once you find joy here, it'll reveal itself out there everywhere you go. And that is so true. See, I wake up with a heart of joy, ready to get started, to bring more compassion, more love, more empathy to the suffering. Thank you.
Yeah, John, thank you for speaking. And I resonate with what you talked about waking up with a heart of joy. I also, though, at this time in my practice, given what we're experiencing presently with world events that are really our events, I find that I also simultaneously carry a heavy heart, and a heart that is at once joyful and sad, and many things. Can you speak to moments where you've had that simultaneity of experience, or what has gotten you through during the moments in which you have to hold many ways in which your heart might feel? Yeah.
One of the key words in practice I found was acceptance. I learned to accept things as they are and see them as they are. The world is on fire. The world is suffering. And in our practice this morning, we vowed to bring Buddha land to this world unimpeded. It only did an individual at a time, I was told. And my heart is heavy. My heart was heavy with that George Floyd incident. My heart was even heavier when I reflect upon that indigenous people in this land that's placed on reservations. My heart is heavy when I reflect upon the enslaved people that came here by the tens and hundreds of thousands and was enslaved for 246 years. I mean, suffering is just suffering. And my job is to end my own suffering and help alleviate the suffering of others. Otherwise, I'd be overwhelmed with CNN, NBC, and the rest of it. But I have to stay aware of what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, and what I'm saying in every moment. It begins here and it ends here, as I said earlier. the joy on the inside is reflecting that on the outside. I can't change the outside world. I can only change my own heart and allow it to flourish. So my heart goes out to the Israelis, to the Palestinians, and wherever they're suffering. Even the men and women I see up outside with them signs, they're suffering. And my heart goes, of compassion goes out to them as well. So I hope I was able to have just acceptance. I begin to see clearly what's real. And there's suffering in this world that goes toward the Four Noble Truths. There's suffering, the cause of suffering, the eightfold path, and the way out of suffering. But each person has to see that for themselves. And I was able to see it. I was fortunate enough to come to the Trade Center. And I was able to alleviate my own suffering. I hope that helps you.
Council, if you could, please stay a little after if people want to speak with you. Yes. So what do we do now, Mom?
I think the 4 great vows and announcements.
Okay, let's do the 4 great vows. And this is these are really deep, mighty vows.
Mm-hmm.
All beings, one body.
All beings, one body.
I vow to liberate.
I vow to liberate.
Blind passions, one root.
Blind passions, one root.
I vow to terminate.
I vow to terminate.
Dharma gates, one mind.
Dharma gates, one mind.
I vow to penetrate.
I vow to penetrate.
The great way of Buddha.
The great way of Buddha.
I vow to realize.
I vow to realize.
Yeah. First of all, I'd like to thank Yongchul for such a powerful Dharma talk. And you have me inspired about someday turning 71 and being able to enjoy the wise, wise senior. So that'll be nice. I want to welcome everyone here today. We have visitors from the Chicago Temple who have joined us. Rishi and Padra for the 5-day retreat, and Kevin's here too. For the 5-day retreat, the Young Injunction that we just had. That's why we're all looking a little bit scruffy. So definitely say hi to them after the retreat. There are Dharma brothers and sisters from Chicago, and welcome to everyone, especially those of you that are here for the first time. If you have questions after the service, you can ask any of us wearing the gray, and we'll try to do our best to answer your questions. You also might want to receive our weekly email bulletin. And so there's a sign-up sheet on the table in the entrance hall, and you put your name and your email address on that. We'll send you a bulletin once a week about what's going on at the temple. And also, you can pick up a copy of our fall schedule over there. We have some flyers with different activities and events coming up. Just a couple that I'll mention. One is from time to time, we run an introductory meditation course. And that runs on Thursday evenings. And so that'll be starting up again in the winter. We have yoga continuing on Tuesday evenings, beginning October 31st. So on Halloween, 6:30 p.m. we have yoga. You can sign up if you're interested in that. And we have a 1-day meditation retreat coming up on Saturday, November 25th. So that'll be from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And that consists of periods of sitting meditation, walking meditation, vegetarian lunch, work practice, and a Dharma talk. So if you're interested in trying out a retreat, that's a good one to try because it's one day, Saturday, November 25th.
What's the name of it, Mama?
The meditation retreat?
Stop, don't shop.
Oh yeah, stop. That's the stop, don't shop because it's after Thanksgiving. Yes. Okay. Thank you. After the service, if you guys can help to move the mats and cushions back into that corner, we're going to keep the first row on each side. The row that's touching the carpet, we're going to keep it here. But all the other ones, we're going to stack up the mats neatly in the corner and then put the cushions on the shelf. So please help with that. Together action. So for 15 minutes after the service, we're going to be working together in the front yard. And so come out into the front yard if you would like to help with that.
On this road, Coyote.
Well, Sofa and I are gonna go examine the room before, so next week.
Oh,
That's okay.
okay, so it's
And-
the front yard.
The front yard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Irina has an announcement about an event coming up for Ukraine.
Thank you. It's not only about Ukraine. I will try to explain. It's a, I'm a member of the temple, but I was a member absentee for quite a while because I'm an artist and I was working on something that I think related not only to Ukraine, it's universal, and it became my practice for a while. And this is an exhibit. It's an interactive exhibit, and it's called Guardian Passage, the power of culture, of Ukrainian cultural memory in the face of war. But I think about the main theme of this exhibit as a sort of red thread, similar to Ariadne's thread, like that took Perseus from the labyrinth. And when we are in crisis, as humans, it doesn't matter what continent our ancestors came from. We looking for something to grasp, and frequently it's a memory of a childhood, an old photograph, or sound of a song, something that we connect to, something that defined us. And frequently it's something related not only to us, but people before us. And and for Ukrainians who in this hour, it's our culture, our language, and our generational memory. But if you will visit the exhibit that consists of hanging ceramic installation and textiles, I'm sure you will see the patterns, because it's that present in all cultures. You will see some motifs there that you can connect with. Because what I learned as I walked on it, I talked about elements, and I talked to people from Middle East, I talked to people from Africa, I talked to people, I said, oh, we have this thing too, it's very similar. Mm-hmm. So this is so just wanted to announce it, because right now it's an International Institute Gallery at the Weiser Center, so it's, but we are moving it to the North Campus, to the Duderstadt Gallery. So thank you for letting me speak about it.
Thank you.
And there's a flyer on the table, there's a poster on the table in the entrance hall about that exhibit. And then Recovery Dharma today.
For a change of pace, we're going to meet in Historic Temple next door. Let's change of pace.
Yeah, we're going. Yeah, John. Yeah, okay. So Recovery Dharma at noon in the Historic Temple. The temple's supported entirely by your kind donations of time and money. There's a fishbowl right near the doorway if you'd like to make a monetary donation, or you could go on PayPal. And if you'd like to volunteer your time, every Saturday from 3 to 5 p.m. we have work practice together, and that's a great way for us to meet each other and work together, often in the garden or something like that. And then we have some herbal tea up front, so you're welcome to join us for that.
I would also like to mention that today at noon, we're going to be having a tea for some of our members that we have often, many of them, we don't get to see so often since COVID. We're really happy that you're here, and we'll meet over in the Fonda House at 12 noon. You could go and sit in the conference room if you wish to.
And there will be other teams, so we are reaching out to all members, just so you know. At some point, you will receive a special invitation in the mail.
It's just in the spirit that we really need to get to know each other. That's how we go forward together. We have so many challenges. As we know each other, we can really work effectively with each other. We'll have a little pause with Young-Cho or with Irina, or just someone you don't know. Yeah. So let's do 3 vows.
Actually, one more thing.
Yeah, what is it?
Today is my anniversary, my marriage anniversary.
Today?
Today?
Happy anniversary.
Congratulations. So let's make up a song, okay? Happy
anniversary to you. Happy anniversary to you. Happy anniversary, dear Young-Cho.
What's the name?
Kathy.
And Kathy, to happy anniversary to you.
This is a sort of unknown secret that teacher he's talking about used to be my husband.
Let's do 3 formal vows.
Why don't you get into
Get into it again, instead of a disembodied voice.
Yeah.
Thank you.